And good morning, London town, and welcome to Step Up with Simply Greg. As you already know, Step Up with Simply Greg is a personal development talk show which is all about elevating the mind and empowering you to make a change one step at a time. So what that basically means is that every week we have an amazing guest who's a specialist at what they do, giving you the information you need to know in order to challenge your better self. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? So today we're talking about the amazing topic of discussion of the silent cries of a grieving widow. And here to help and assist us with us is the amazing author, Dilys Sillah. How you doing, Dilys? You okay?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And thank you very much for making it down today as well. And also bringing to my awareness this particular topic of discussion that we are going to address today as well, because I wasn't really aware of what's going on behind the veil, you know, until having a conversation with you and then further doing research and realizing, you know, the challenges that a lot of widows are actually going through silently, you know, which I was also able to mention earlier on, according to UK Aid. Globally, there's 285 million widows and 115 million of them reportedly living in such fragile conditions, vulnerable to the abuse and everything else that follows on later on. You're definitely going to tell us more, especially your journey as well, without a shadow of doubt. But first and foremost, please let us know who you are and how you came to your journey to releasing this amazing book that you have here as well.
So my name's Dilys Sillah, as you've said. I am a transformational life coach. I specialise in emotional independence.
Good.
This isn't my first book. I'm also the author of Predator Prince, How to Find the Man of Your Dreams, Not Your Nightmares.
Oh, good.
That's another show.
For a lot of the women, they're like, yeah, I'm getting that.
And unfortunately, I got to write this book, not this widow.
I see.
I lost my husband a year ago yesterday, so 21st of January was the, actually no, today is the 23rd, isn't it? Yeah, so on the 23rd, Tuesday, I lost my husband, and I actually had this book published on the day to honour him. Yeah. I don't think I had processed what it would take for me to write the book and commit to that. But it was twofold. I felt that what I had gone through as a widow in terms of the treatment and not just the treatment but the emotions that you go through was just so, you know, I can't even find the words to describe. I can't convey what it feels like, what it felt like at that time. To have this devastating, life-changing loss unexpectedly. So I wrote this book to speak about the journey of grief, but in addition, my personal journey. So it's part memoir, part self-help. Just to open people's eyes that, you know what, this is what we're going through, even in England. This is not something that happens in some remote village, wherever. This is here. And somehow I became victimized and vilified just because I lost my husband.
Wow.
You know, and I think I was just so shocked that I wasn't special, that this treatment is so common.
And it's widespread.
And I felt, so why hasn't anyone said anything? Why has everyone kept quiet and left us, you know, to find out when we're faced with this devastating experience that we don't even, because you're not left to grieve solely.
First and foremost,
You're now firefighting. You're now trying to protect your reputation. You're thinking about your children. There's so many things at play here. I thought, why hasn't anybody said anything? So I decided, probably 3 months in, that I was going to write a book.
Wow.
I decided I was going to write a book because originally I'm from Ghana, but I was born and raised here. But I identify as Ghanaian. And I thought, well, I'm going to write it from an African woman's perspective. However, being in a few bereavement groups on social media, I realized
it's bigger than that.
Yes, it's bigger than that. There's certain elements that may be characteristic of the African widow, but the issue in the treatment and the wider issue of lack of support for people who are grieving is global.
Wow.
So that's what led me to say, you know what, somebody has to say something.
And that's why I like the title of the book, Not This Widow. Yeah. She's not going to keep quiet. No. She's not going to lay down and accept all of this. No, I will go out there and share the message about this in order to address this particular issue. And I'm glad that you have, you know, decided to do that as well. Because even speaking to you, you know, previously about that, you said your husband would not allow you to continue to, you know, go through that in quietness. No, you know, which is what a lot of people have done.
Yes, and I was fortunate because, let me take it back a step. So you have a lot of African marriages, and I speak in general terms here, that we don't generally fall in love and get married. You've reached the age of marriage. You've reached the age of, you know, bearing children for status. Therefore, get married. So that foundation and that connection isn't always there. I think in my generation, it is getting a bit better. I mean, but again, I'm very fortunate because my parents would have been married 60 years this year. Present. They still hold hands. I mean, the two of them are they're just different.
Something else.
Yeah. So because we don't have that foundation, there are certain dynamics that work within the marriage. That when the man isn't there, there's a certain status that you kind of find yourself pushed into. So for my husband and I was very protective of him, and he was very protective of me. So a bit of history, he fell ill whilst we were on our summer holiday in Portugal. And it was a 2-week holiday that turned into a 3-month stay. Wow. Because he had complications after an unknown, you know, condition. And we got flown back into England via our ambulance and what have you. And there was, I really fought for him. And I'm very much like that. People that mean something to me, I will fight for you. And people that I don't know even. And, you know, I think my activism work in regards to rape, child abuse and domestic violence, because I do a lot of activism work within those areas. I hate to see people being victimized. And I think my husband always knew me as somebody that was that person. And I felt almost ashamed that I would allow him to see me wherever he is, breaking down and allowing myself to be a victim. And that really was what was the wind beneath my wings, that I'm not going to take this, because I know that if Eddie was here, I know how he would be blasting and cursing and screaming and shouting. I could hear his voice. I knew that he wouldn't be having it. I could tell you word for word what he would have said. And I thought, I cannot dishonor his memory by allowing myself to be victimized about these, you know, by certain people. He wouldn't.
So being that you've had this experience for yourself and you've identified some of the challenges that, you know, you've been through, is some of the challenges other widows have also been through as well. Give us an understanding of the wide scale of the different kind of things that you've identified that other widows have had to go through during that period of time after losing a loved ones.
I think what shocks me is the speed with which you are attacked. For me, it was about 48 hours. I could
and attacked in what way as well?
As in verbally. So, you know, without going into too much detail, and I speak about this in the book, one of Eddie's aunties, a lovely lady who he was very, very close to, who unfortunately passed away 3 weeks ago, she had called me very upset to say that certain members of the family were having meetings to discuss my disrespect. I didn't know what she was talking about. And this woman, you know, was beside herself in tears. So I asked her that, you know, what's going on? And she said, well, they have been saying that they can't get hold of me, that I'm ignoring the family. And I'm like, well, I just lost my husband. I'm hardly going to be sat by the phone just waiting for the moment that somebody can offer me condolences. But I didn't really pay much attention to it till there were more phone calls afterwards, and the problem just got wider and wider. And then I realized, okay, so there really, you know, is a problem here. So I think it's the speed with which we're attacked. And then there's the issue of inheritance and money. There's always this assumption that there's potloads of money. But then what I find really interesting is, in my case, my husband was unwell for 3.5, nearly 4 years. there are not many people that I recall ever coming to our home to say, Dilys, Eddie, what help do you need? Or here's a hot meal. Or financially, are you guys okay? Didn't have that kind of support, didn't ask for it. Yet still, as soon as the person passes away, there are relatives that pop up that you didn't even know they were relatives. And yet you are supposed to sit there, keep your mouth quiet and allow them to run you ragged. Not this widow.
Not this widow, indeed. And thank you very much for everyone who's locked in and locked out with us at the present moment. Once again, you're listening to Step Up with Simply Greg, all about elevating the mind and empowering you to make a change one step at a time. And today we're talking about the topic of discussion of the silent cries of a grieving widow, which Dilys is talking to us about, especially because of not just her experience that she's been through, but also coming into the awareness that many other widows are also going through the same challenges. She was able to bring out this book, Not This Widow. So after the break, what we're going to talk is more about the challenges and also how you can overcome some of the challenges and what we can all do as a community in order to address these issues and take care of our family members who are also going through this. So don't touch that dial. See you on the other side of the break.